You were taught by handspring. How long did that take to get to that level of, like...
Well, we've all been in the show for a couple of years now, but the rehearsal process starts with 2 weeks, which is just looking at how the horse puppets work, sort of starting with the basics of puppetry and then going into how these particular puppets work, and sort of how to really convey the story and also the reality of them being a horse as well. So there's a lot of research put into those first 2 weeks in particular, and then through the following 6 weeks of full rehearsal with the rest of the company, we keep going with sessions on sort of horse behaviour and psychology, and as well as our own research as well. Yeah, so it's a lengthy process, and then during the show as well, it's not like you ever think, now I'm done. No. It's like, no, you're constantly trying to get it that little bit more perfect, that little bit more real.
So Joey isn't the only horse in the show, is he? There are others. So do you do any work on any of the others, or are you specifically, you are Joey?
There are 4 horse teams in the show. In the show there are 2 main horses, Joey and Topthorn, and there are 4 teams of 3 who sort of rotate through the show so that people get breaks, so that minimises the risk of injury and etc. And one team specialises in just doing Joey, one team specialises in just doing Topthorn, and 2 teams do both horses. So
would you find the way that someone would operate Topthorn would be different to the way someone would operate Joey, because they're different horses, different sizes?
They're the same. They do feel different from a technical point of view. Topthorn's actually quite a lot bigger than Joey. His legs are longer, so they're slightly just different to control. And of course, they're very different characters, and that's the other thing that is our job to bring to the performance, as well as the technical task of operating the puppet. We have to give the character life as an actor would any character, and so in that respect, Joey and Topthorn are quite different, which you'll have to come and see the show to find out.
I'm sure lots of people will be. In the same way that actors in any stage show as big as this have understudies, do you guys, as Joey and Topthorn, have understudy operators?
Not really, no. Like Mikey was saying, there's like a pool of puppeteers within the show. So there's not like a thing as an understudy, but there's a team that know the puppets, know how they work. So although we stay within our 3 and work as a team, and like this is your 3 for the entirety of the run, there are occasions where like somebody else might come into your 3 at different times throughout the.
That's hoping to get ill.
Yeah, but it's inevitable. Over a long run, someone's going to get ill at some point.
So you guys were kind of ready to jump in another 3 if need be.
That's the nature of the show, though. Not just the puppeteers, for the whole ensemble within there's 30 odd actors within the show, and everyone's always doing something, and no one has an easy show. Yeah. So everyone knows what everyone else is doing, and I'm ready to step in if needed. And that's why it's a great show to be part of.
And it's quite phenomenal, actually, that with this show, if somebody is ill, say, then you can sort of say, okay, this needs covering, this needs covering, this needs covering, and there will be people who know it just because of the ensemble nature of it. It's amazing what you absorb from being in the show, sort of other tracks and other people's jobs in the show. You sort of, as you go along, you learn an awful lot about the show as a whole. It's really, I can't really think of any other show that works quite so well as an ensemble in terms of knowing every other little bit of the show.
Sure, yeah. You're saying the horses themselves, you said that weigh about 10 stone, and the guys that ride them, you said he was about 6'4", so 14 stone.
Yeah.
That's getting
probably
pretty
the
heavy.
That's the heaviest, definitely.
How do you deal with that? What are you doing?
It's just like anything. You just you build up the strength over time. Certainly, the first time someone sits on the horse in rehearsal, you do kind of think. I know I did it, and I thought I don't think I'm going to be able to do this.
Well, it's all right when they're just sat there, but then you have to move as well. And that's when it's hard. It's
as I say, like with anything, any job, and with this show in particular, you just do it. you just get better at it. You kind of get used to it. Yes, it's never going to be easy, and it's always going to be heavy. But it's something that is you just cope with it, and you can use it as well. Both Joey and Topthon have a very they sort of really put through their paces. Their characters have a massive journey, physically and emotionally. So any kind of struggle we have as actors, as puppeteers, we can. I find that very useful. You can put that into the character, so you can kind of use it to your advantage as well.
And it's quite clever the way that rehearsals are sort of scheduled out. Means that the first time you're in horse, you're only in for sort of 10-15 minutes or so at a time, and so you're just constantly building up your strength. It's a bit like you're training for it, as well as rehearsing how the story's going to go. You're training your body to be able to do this, and then I think the longest we're ever in horse in the show is like 40 minutes, something like that, in the second act. Around 40 minutes. So like you're building up to being able to do it for an extended period of time. It's hard work. Your body adapts so amazingly. It's amazing what your body is capable of in that respect.
Yeah. Last question. Obviously, as Joey, you have a lot of human interaction. You have to interact a lot with Albert. Mm-hmm. What are the difficulties of interacting as Joey with, who's obviously in his facial expressions, you are the ones controlling that. He's not doing anything that you're not doing. What are the difficulties of getting that across the interaction between Albert, who's a human actor, and you as three playing a horse?
We each have, as well as a kind of a technical job in the puppet, whether it's making the legs move for us two, or the head and where that looks. We each have an kind of what is called an emotional indicator, which is very useful. What it says on the tin, really, to convey the emotion. Yeah. So the ears, particularly. So even though the face doesn't move in terms of it doesn't express because it's a puppet. The ears can tell that story, and whether he's angry, scared, all those sorts of things. Likewise the tail and breath as well. So in the heart, my movement of my body can control how the frame of the puppet can move up and down to show its breathing. So that helps us communicate and kind of stay in tune with each other. Also can again show his emotional state, if he's short of breath, if he's anxious, if he's exhausted, all of those sorts of things. So those things combined really bring the puppet alive, and it means that we're able to tell that emotional story, particularly with Albert in those moments. And he works hard, doesn't he? It's what we call the fourth puppeteer, which basically means the other actors on stage, they are the fourth puppeteer, so they're able to kind of sell it to the audience as well.
Yeah, how they respond to Joey and how they interact with him tells the audience that this is not just a collection of wicker and gauze. This is a real horse who's a wild animal who's unpredictable.
You pulled me out there.
It's sort of finding a fine line in Joey's character between him being likeable and very affectionate and very loving as he is, and also being a real animal who, when he's in a dangerous situation or when he's scared, people around him can't necessarily predict what he's going to do. It's about finding that balance between making the character of him believable, as well as making the animal side of him believable.
Thanks very much, guys.
No worries. Cheers.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much.